Canberra for Cam's Mortgage Minute on Wednesday, January 16th. Hey, some recent comments from our finance minister. Basically, he was responding to the July changes to the Canada mortgage rules, and he was asked if it had the desired effect on the housing market. His comments were, well, yeah, I don't mind prices coming down a bit too. So the finance minister certainly felt that the changes that he implemented in July were having their effect, and he was quite satisfied with the prices dropping. Canadian home sales posted their fastest year-over-year decline in December since the mortgage rules tightened. Sales of existing homes over the multiple listing service fell 17.4% in December from a year earlier, and were down 0.05% from November. So again, a slower drop from November to December, but overall from December of the year previous to this, certainly a big drop. The MLS Home Price Index, which seeks to factor out changes in the types of homes being sold to get an indication of the underlying prices overall, rose 3.3% from a year earlier. That's the slowest growth since April of last year. Having said that, basically the TD came out with some opinions, and they felt that the new rules have probably fully been priced into the market now, and they don't see much of a change happening out there. With the whopping 17.4% drop, year-over-year sales in December, they said they suspect that the impacts from the mortgage rule tightenings in July are now fully priced in, and they expect the Canadian housing market to stabilize at current levels over the next few months. Indeed, the Royal Bank echoed a similar sentiment, because they were, felt positive about the fact that listings had also declined more than sales, and that would help support a new pricing structure. So the number of listings has fallen off dramatically as well. So what's happening basically is that if the listing inventory is dropping, that helps because there's less inventory in the market, which can help stabilize the sales pricing as well. The MLS Home Price Index has been declining for 6 months on a month-over-month basis now, and there were fears previously that that would accelerate even further and further. But according to the TD economists, they feel that if supply is now adjusting to lower demand, this may guard against the acceleration of the decline. So again, we're going to see what happens. We're going to see if the sharp declines in year-over-year sales end, the sales flatten out or even pick up a bit. These measures, we're going to fully see what happens with them. The thing that I found interesting, however, was the minister's comments. And you know what? I can imagine that it's a pretty tough job being Minister Flaherty, because he inherited an economy that was challenging. We had the subprime meltdown, we had all of these other things going in, and he certainly had his hands full. And when you look at him in tandem with Mark Carney, the dynamic duo, they've been working this thing together, some would say, I don't know, Batman and Robin, some might say Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, I don't know. The bottom line is I can imagine that it would be a pretty tough and demanding job, and I'd never say that it could be anything easy. But the comments that Mr. Flaherty made, I guess the only comment I would have to it is, as opposed to saying, well, yeah, you know what, I'm happy that the prices are dropping. I think at this point maybe it might be better to reassure Canadians and say, you know what, hey, our mortgage rules have been working, we feel the market's stabilizing, and something perhaps maybe a little bit different. But the reality is that people say what's on their mind, and they say what they're thinking. And it may be that Mr. Flaherty is kind of done with politics, and he's planning on not running another election or whatever else. It's hard to know the logic of anyone. We know that Mr. Carney's not going to stick around. He's running, well, not running, but he's leaving for greener pastures and more opportunities ahead. So the bottom line is that Mr. Flaherty shared exactly what was on his mind, and you know what? To his credit and to the type of person he is, he always has. I think he's pretty much been out there speaking out his mind. But again, like I said, with all of the Canadians and a lot of people out there sitting on the edge, a lot of people kind of wondering which way the market's going, they're looking for him for some kind of guidance, light, and reassurance. And I think perhaps a better job could have been done there. But again, we're going to see if, what's going to happen with things. But the bottom line is that it looks like supply and demand are beginning to balance out. We still have record low interest rates, and our employment numbers are relatively reasonably solid there. And so we're probably going to be adjusting to a new norm. We've had where, our economy and our housing prices have kind of gone like this in so many markets, and the reality is it can't go forever. there's a law of equilibrium. I mean, things have to balance out, and if you're almost at the top of the peak, at some point you're going to face some declines. And the bottom line, when I mentioned it to you before, when we talked about it in a previous Mortgage Minute, is our overall prices in Victoria are still up over the past few years. So it's not like the market has cratered or basically gone totally the other direction. At the end of the day, what we can look forward to, I think, for the year ahead is I think we're going to see, as I mentioned before, more of a stabilizing in the market. Prices, again, I don't see any kind of uptick anytime soon. I mean, I definitely see some flatness, and there's probably going to be some more weakness yet, but nothing dramatic. It looks like things are certainly more stable. So the bottom line is, if we get our politicians to maybe not talk about Armageddon and the meltdown and all these other things, and get them on side with the language, it would probably help a lot. And that would be my only comment. But again, I don't work in political office. I don't run for office, so I guess I got a prerogative. I can say what I want, and I don't have the ramifications of that in the sense that I've got to get elected or not elected or whatever else. And again, like I said, I admit it's a challenging position when you're doing a job like that. But we look to our leaders to inspire us and reassure us at times of crisis or times of challenge. And I would ask that the folks out there maybe do a little bit more of that, as opposed to pointing out the obvious to us. Anyway, it's been Cam for Cam's Mortgage Minute, and I will see you tomorrow.